Hey, welcome to the Carpool Honcho, everybody! Yeah!
So good to have you with us on the Carpool Honcho.
What a lovely day, hey? Hey guys, on the Carpool Honcho today we have lovely Colin Kennedy. What a special man, and he's from Iron Road
Communications.
Yeah!
Brought to you by your hosts, Dino and Roro.
Yeah!
Today's podcast is driven by our friends at Albany Toyota.
And we are fed by our mates at Sal's Pizza.
And our tunes are brought to you from the Sound Store. So yes, it's going to be an awesome day. Colin, before we go much further, mate, we've got to find out a little bit more about you and your business, Iron Road Communications. Tell us what do you do? What's your guru? What's your magic?
My job's to make people more interesting. So
you're going to have to work on Dino.
Yeah. Either that or, just yell loudly. So there's four, the average Kiwi gets about 4,000 messages thrown at them every day, marketing messages.
Wow.
It's very difficult to be heard above that noise. So my job is helping, creating content that gets clients, gets attention for clients, stimulates the interest and gets a desired action. So I'm a content specialist. That's where I work, and I work in PR with media, getting media, but also working with agencies, like Naked Marketing and others, and working with the content creation.
Of course, you're based at the Crate Flexible Office Space down in Constellation Drive with us.
Very stimulating, creative environment, might I say.
But what I love hearing is the success stories that of our clients and people that I know that are working with you. Next minute they're on radio, they're in this front page of the newspaper somewhere, or some massive, influential blog, or influencers pick them up, and that's because you've managed to find out their value and find out what they're really good at and get it out into
opening those opportunities
where people are looking for.
Well, a lot of what people do is they think that marketing's talking about themselves, as I said in the past. And if you want attention from your customers and the public and from media, you've got to talk about them. You've got to talk about your customers and their problems, because that's really what motivates them and their questions and their issues. You've got to educate them, inspire them, inform them, help them solve problems and live life better.
Because everyone's got pain points, right? Talk to those pain points and then solve those issues for them. 100%. Good.
It's like the banana peel analogy, isn't it? So if you're riding a bike and you see a banana peel and you keep looking at that banana peel because you're worried about it, you're going to hit it.
Exactly.
And people are like that. They have an issue they need dealt with, and that's where their focus is.
Yeah. Cool.
So we've got a new topic this month, and it's the topic of customer retention.
Beautiful.
And we all know how much effort it takes to win new clients, right?
Yeah.
We put a lot of effort into getting that new lead, that new sale, and it takes a lot of finance, a lot of effort, a lot of energy. But sometimes we get a little bit too relaxed when it comes to actually closing the back door and keeping or looking after the customers we've got. And so we thought this would be a great topic to explore. What do you reckon?
Yeah, and they always say that it costs less money to retain a client than to actually acquire a client. So I think this is a great topic.
Well, that ancient wisdom, isn't a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush,
There you go.
Nice.
So let's crack on to it, Colin. We've got the big question. What's the one thing that you do really well at? And that's what this whole kind of Carpool Honcho lifestyle series is about, is finding out from our guests what's the one thing that you've mastered that's become something quite automatic, quite habitual, quite easy for you to do, that really gives you that success, that release, that makes life business easier for you, right? So what's the one thing you do when it comes to retaining your customers that
It's funny you should say that, Dean, because ironically, communications.
Yeah!
I mean, obviously that's the business I'm in, that's what I sell, but I'm talking from my own experience and my own client relationships in that context. And there's nothing worse for a client or a customer than being kept in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, we might think the job's going great, so we don't have to communicate. It's all working, it's all coming together, and the client's sitting there anxiously biting their nails, wondering where things are at. As they start to make up stories in their head, they start to get anxious. Or maybe things are going badly, and we're kind of avoiding the client. The worst thing you can do, regular communication. So Rory, I think you were saying with your clients, you find out the way they want to be communicated with, don't they?
What's the best channel?
Yeah. So whether it's text, it's email, telephone calls. I'm always talking to my clients and letting them know, how things are going, how things are progressing, catching up with them. Even when I'm not doing work with them, I'll give them a call and have a chat, because that's how you build relationships. And I like people. And if you like people,
retaining
they sometimes like you back.
Retaining a customer is retaining relationship, right? It's maintaining relationship and not losing relationship. So what a great idea. Often we pour on the love when the money's there and they're spending money with you, but actually if you maintain that when they're not, then they're going to remember you, right? They'll soon forget you if you don't kind of maintain that sort of engagement.
People are people, and the funny thing is some customers or clients you'll actually become friends with, and friendships will develop. But with others, they're still people. You still want to connect with them, stay in touch with them, because you formed a relationship. And as I sort of said, people do business with people.
Cam Calhoun had an awesome idea the other day, and we do the same thing.
He has a lot of those.
Yeah, he's a great guy. But I mean, he just says, even with his friends or his clients, just leave them a WhatsApp message, a voice message. Then it doesn't have to be a long, lengthy conversation, but it just shows you care. And you're there to support. And I think that goes a long way. The bigger the vacuum, the higher the anxiety. So just people say they communicate, but they don't. I'm talking about regular and constant updates and information. Even if nothing's happened, just sort of say, the work's progressing well, everything's coming together, we've just finished this, or we're working on that,
Just that continual reassurance that things are on track and they're heading in the right direction. I loved, when we were chatting before, you said sometimes you'll just ring a client to say, just so you know, we're all set to start your project next Tuesday or next Friday, right? It just kind of gives that reassurance that it's not that nothing's happening, or something is planned to happen, and they're not forgotten, they're not in the dark. The vacuum thing is a huge story.
One way for even people like builders and tradies, they're very good. They're very passionate about their work. They most of them do a great job, but they get a lot of, they get quite a hard time. And I think the reason they get a hard time is because communication.
Lack of communication.
Or lack of communication, because when you're working with your hands and stuff, that's where you focus. But if you communicate more, that's a real point of difference.
But before we move on, so I was going to ask a question about people that don't have the communication level or skill or ability that some of us do. What would you say to those people? Because a lot of those tradies are just that. They're really, really, really good at their job. But they're maybe just not good at the communication side of things. And that might just be one example. But what would you say to people like that, and how would you help them there?
Sometimes succeeding in business is doing the hard things that other people don't want to do. So, and I've heard that's one of the key ingredients to success is doing the hard things other people don't want to do. And so if it's hard for you, do it anyway. And whether you have to automate it, maybe there is an automation system. Maybe there's somebody in your office you can hire to do it, or, appoint in your office. Or hire somebody, get an intern once a week whose job it is to just update clients and that sort of thing. So,
very good.
Make communication a central pillar, and that's how you get referred to more jobs. That's how people start to mention you in conversations.
So, Mr. Kennedy, tell us why is it so important to you, and is there some sort of event in your life that sort of got you thinking this way and doing what you're doing now with regards to communication?
as some of you know, I started life as a journalist, working in South Africa, and one of the assignments I had at one point was to follow Nelson Mandela around,
So cool.
and obviously met him that way. And then I remember a couple years later, I was standing on town hall steps waiting for politicians to come out and give comment about these negotiations that were going on. And there were a number of us media standing on the steps, and he walked out and he looked around and he saw me and he said, "Hello, Colin.
Wow.
How are you?"
Wow.
Which completely blew me away. It completely blew me away. But it brought
Never
the
forgotten
realization.
that, right?
Yeah, he used my name. You know,
Yeah.
he recognized me.
Wow,
Even though he would have been meeting hundreds of people, and I suspect that was part of his power. You know, and that is communication. You know, knowing somebody's name, recognizing them. You know. Is part of communication. It's about communication is simply connection.
Yeah.
And so that sort of struck me at the time. I thought, you know, wow, when somebody recognizes you and acknowledges you and sees you, that's really, really powerful.
Just makes you feel important. You know, it's a good thing. Colin Kennedy had a
And your clients are important, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. Colin had a huge Viking beard a few weeks ago with beads in it. And I bet you, if you had that, Mr. Madiba wouldn't have recognized you. So good thing you got rid of that.
Yeah.
Got rid of that because nobody recognized me. You know, they were kind of stopping at the end of the aisle and going the other way. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I think that, you know, just understanding your clients, knowing, you know, about them, understanding, you know, what their purchase history is with you, maybe how long they've been spending money with you, and maybe what their client account is worth to you. All those things help you just to really bring value or you know, set a value upon that name and that relationship that cause you to want to maintain it.
Yeah, clients aren't clients. You know, we need to see them as people. And when we see them as people, there's more empathy, there's more connection. We don't want them to be feeling anxious, you know, because they might be, so we reach out.
That really spins things out. I'm actually doing an audio book at the moment. I think of the name of it. I think it's called the Heart of Business, and it's kind of really just talking about that whole concept of really, you know, taking the focus away in business away from making money to really, you know, looking after people and impacting lives. And of course the money comes, right? And business is about making money at the end of the day. However, if that's your sole reason, you'll kind of run people over and lose clients and lose things along the way. However, if you keep the importance of how can I look after this person? And I was actually even thinking about customer service at a very, very raw, you know, embryo sense. Someone walks into your business or walks into your shop or whatever it is, and you say hello. What's the very first thing you normally say to people is, "Hi, how can I help you?"
100%.
And if we actually stop and start our think about customer retention on how are we helping this person? How do they want to be helped?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we actually take care of that, not what we think's important, not what we want to do, or this is our service and we think you want this. No, actually, what do you want from me? How can I help you? You begin to show that person the value that they're heard, and they're going to want to stick around.
So you're talking about a spirit of serving, and I think things naturally come back to you if you got that spirit and that intention. And here's a real cool tip for our audience. We're going to actually take the birthday down of every single client of ours, and we'll actually send them a video message on their birthday. It doesn't matter where they are, but just trying to make them feel special. And it's just small little things like that, and going above and beyond. And I actually think the creators like this, but if you walk into a really good hotel, there's always somebody there serving you and saying, "Welcome, sir." There's a greeting first, and then, like you say, "How can I help you?" And just making that person feel special.
It's that, I mean, those of us who are young enough will remember Cheers, that sitcom about the pub where everybody, it's just because your memory's fading. You know, where everybody knows your name.
Yes.
We all love that. We like to be seen. You know? And so, and one of the mistakes a lot of, you know, business people make is that we see the work as what we do. You know, we think that's, you know, that's all there is, and we're just focused on the job instead of the person the job is for.
I just want to give the crate a bit of a plug here, because I think that's exactly like Cheers.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that place
everybody
where
knows
everyone
your name.
knows your name,
Yeah,
and everyone's striving for the same thing, and everyone's trying to help that person get there. So,
And as I was saying, you know, I've been into other shared spaces, you know, and completely different experience, you know, completely different experience. Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. Get it? Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's cool though. Like, you know, that whole concept, even for all of us in business listening today, you know, where everyone knows your name, and just to think that, do we actually kind of have that level of personal care and attention, you know, for our clients? I think it would go a long way.
Yeah.
So, what sort of positive outcome has this had on your life and business? Just.
But as some of you will know, I had a brain bleed from an aneurysm about just over a year ago, which meant I was, you know, pretty much incapacitated for at least 3 weeks when I was in hospital.
We were so
It's pretty
worried about
touch and
you.
go there for a bit
Yeah,
there,
it
bro.
Sorry, who are you again? And I had clients, and some of them are friends, and some of them are clients, but I had clients reaching out, calling other clients on my behalf, just, you know, helping and supporting. And that's why I sort of, you know, why we started this with the song Titanium, because obviously I've now got a little piece of titanium in my head. But, you know, that experience brought out to me that when I needed help, there were some clients who went above and beyond to you know, help me get going again. So, you know, and that showed that there's a good relationship there.
Yeah, but I found that about you, Colin, and without blowing that little piece of titanium out of your head, Joe, I've seen that about you. I mean, you'll stop and just talk to me and say, well, how's it going in your day? How's it going with your week? Whatever. And I think you got that whole empathy sort of thing about you, and I think that goes a long way with even your personal relationships.
I like people, you know.
Yeah.
I think everybody's fascinating, and interesting, and you know, if we start to like our customers, and
You have to
you
love
might
them.
laugh,
You can like
you
them.
might laugh, you know, but some people just don't have a connection with their clients. You know, they don't see them as people. They see them as a nuisance or a dollar, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just not a good way to do, you know,
It's not
to live
not
your
good,
life.
But it's sad though, because
Yeah.
don't you want to like going to work every day and like dealing with the people that you deal with?
Yeah,
I do.
exactly. You know, it's not a way to live life. If you know, you need to do business in the way you want to live life.
So, give us some practical tips that our listeners can implement in their businesses, maybe their personal lives, and how to get this communication thing going.
Yeah. Well, you know, obviously, if you only have a handful of clients, it's easy to remember the names of your customers. But if you don't, you know, make an effort to you know, remember people's names, to use their names. It's no good just knowing their name. It's you know, use their names, because people love the sound of their own name, as I discovered. You know some of their purchase history, know some of their background, so that, you know, it's that old thing of everybody knows your name. It's you know, they're being seen, they're being acknowledged, and it's not, and that's not being, it's kind of not a cynical action, because when you start doing that, when you start making an effort to remember people's names, when you make an effort to know a bit more about them and about their history, you actually connect with them at a deeper level anyway. So, you know, it's not a cynical action. It's also, you know, as I sort of said, get somebody to communicate if you can't. Keep people updated weekly, you know, at least. And so that anxiety doesn't build up. Keep them informed. And there's a lot of tech tools we can use. And as you were saying, Rory, you know, you ask people, how do you want to be communicated with? Do that.
Yeah, I think that's cool, and I think, you know, either setting like a reminder on your phone or an email calendar reminder. One of the things I actually love doing, I use Gmail as my mode of emails, but is I snooze it. You know what I mean? So I might deal with something, but I'll touch base with that person again, and I can snooze it, and it basically loses that email in my inbox, and it comes back again.
You've got to show me how to use
Really?
it.
Yeah, and it
Used it before.
so cool.
Simple tool, isn't
But
it?
it just pops up,
Yeah.
and then I just reply to the email. Hey, just
Yeah.
thinking of you again, or hey, how are you going with that? And it's just something that they think, man, he didn't forget, you know, but I might have forgotten.
I think a part of it is
If I had-
changing our attitude about communication. You know, if you're it doesn't matter what you do, builder, accountant, quantity surveyor, very often we can sort of see that those little things of communicating, reaching out, phoning, emails as an interruption and disruption, but they're not. They're actually more important than the work you're doing because people do, business with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, look, you get subscription model businesses, you get online purchasing businesses, like one of my awesome clients, so Goody, she does these gift boxes. But by using automation and software these days, you can also get that across, and you can also communicate quite well if you have that sort of business, right?
Yeah, exactly. So not everybody wants to pick up the phone, but there are other methods. There are other emails. There are texts. There's all kinds of things. Just stay in touch. See people, communicate.
Expectation is such an important part of business, right? And setting the expectation. And if you can not only set an expectation but maintain it, so you think about, you pick up a new client and you say, hey, listen, one of the things that's very important to us is that we stay in touch with you and maintain a high level of communication.
Yeah.
How would you like me to do that, right? Was it through phone call, text, email? And secondly, how often would you like to see that happen? I'm thinking once a week, or is that too much or too little? But imagine if you could, if in business you would just nail that. You set an expectation that was that met their expectation, and you delivered. Like, you're not going to lose that many clients, right? You know what I mean? And that's the key here. We're talking about maintaining and not losing clients. People deciding, and you talked about that vacuum.
I like
what's the outcome of the vacuum? The vacuum is somebody else knocks on that door for their business during that time of vacuum, and there's an emptiness in the relationship that you have with your client, and they go, oh, there's not really much magic happening with Dean at the moment. I've been working working with them for 2 years, but there's a bit of a vacuum there. I'll give you a go, and they go somewhere else. And that's, don't leave the vacuum. That is, what did you say before? Because that was flipping amazing.
But basically, if you are not in touch with clients, it leaves a vacuum, or it leaves a space where other people can move into and establish a relationship. You sort of see this quite commonly with, dare I say it, insurance brokers. You get policies. They have so many clients, you don't hear from them for another year or two. And it's such a competitive industry. It's not long before another broker's knocking on your door going, do you want to do business with me? So, even that whole sort of, that old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's a load of nonsense. It's a load of nonsense, because it doesn't. It just it's a cue to wander off and go somewhere else.
So in communication, I just want to say two things. There's communication, there's communication, and I'm talking about your tone that you come across in. And I'm always striving for more energy, and it's very hard sometimes to always have energy to communicate correctly. And I just think it's important, wherever and however you are communicating with your clients, that you have a sort of form of energy going through that, even on a text, even on a voice message, because people thrive on that. I thrive on other people's energy. I think you got great energy, Dino, which I think really comes across really well.
Cheers.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Mate, what an absolute pleasure it's been to have Colin on the show today. You're such a good guy to talk to. Of course, he's so well researched. This is what he does. He researches companies. He researches people's space in the marketplace, where they're most valuable, where there are problems, and he removes that vacuum by putting you right where you need to be. And so if you're looking for a communications company to really get your name out there, right where it needs to be, in some of the best possible media outlets, mediums that there are to promote your business. This is the guy. He's
got connections.
so hooked up. He is so hooked up.
Could we do this every day so I can hear you talk about me like that every day?
That's it, mate. You talk about building other people up, like you could deserve to be built up yourself. So, look, you know, honestly, if you're looking for the right sort of person to help get your business out there where it needs to be, then talk to Iron Road Communications, ironroad.co.nz.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Colin Kennedy, he is the man.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Colin.
That was brilliant.
You're a
Appreciate
good
it.
man.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Have a great week, everybody.